Good morning, everyone. Welcome to LisaBug Yoga. We are in the month of February 2023. Our focus is that fusion of the yin and the yang practice. The yin being our cooling and relaxing, the yang being our heating and energetic, more vibrant side of our yoga practice. That being said, I always want you to listen to your body and take this practice where you are today on your mat because our bodies are always different each and every day. So, what I have for you today for our yang practice is we are going to be doing a lot of standing poses, also flowing through some vinyasa half series. I have an option to use a chair. If you're not feeling like coming all the way down on the ground, you can do that with some of these flows. And we're also going to focus on strengthening gently the neck. And I'm going to do that through a couple of different ways. Through the use of gravity, number one. And we all know when we're laying on our back and we're doing a sit up and we try to do the crunch, a lot of times we're just feeling all this strain in our neck. So we know how much gravity can put an impact on the cervical spine. So we're going to use that gravity in different positions to strengthen our neck along different directions and different planes. We are also going to use some external resistance to strengthen our neck, and that would be to apply some gentle pressure onto one side of the head and just using the strength to push into our hand and to also connect with those muscles. For our yin side, we are going to do some nice releasing of the neck as well, and upper back and shoulders where we carry a lot of tension. So I'd like for you just to come to what you would consider the top of your mat. So I'm going to make my chair here the top of my mat. That way, if I want to use the chair for maybe a downward dog or to help with some balance, it's there for me. So come to a nice, strong mountain pose. Pull those shoulder blades back. Focus on engaging through your core and gently applying a connection with what we call the Uddiyana Bandha. And that's about maybe an inch or two above and below the navel. We're just compressing that area toward the backbone, creating a little bit of bracing and tension in that lower belly. Now, on an inhale, we'll sweep the arms forward any amount. And on an exhale, we'll pull them back and squeeze the shoulder blades. And inhale, arms come forward. Exhale, pull back, find some range of motion through your chest and shoulder muscles. Then adding some movement of the neck. Inhale, bring the arms forward and up. Exhale, and as you pull them back, look over your right shoulder, but try not to let your left shoulder move forward. And then we'll breathe in. And this time looking over the left shoulder as we pull back and create that spinal extension through the thoracic spine. Inhale. Exhale, looking right. And inhale. Exhale, looking left. Inhale, come up. Exhale, press the palms and sit right down into chair pose and look to the right. But we're not twisting our spine, just the cervical. Keep the palms pressed. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, sit into chair, looking to the left. So we're just using our muscles to create that spinal rotation through the cervical spine, strengthening our neck, lengthening our neck, and one more each side. Maybe you'll notice your range of motion might be a little bit different when you look to the right than when you look to the left, but just take it to your edge on each side. And now inhale, come up. Exhale, soften your knees and come into a half forward fold. So when we do half lift, it's like a tabletop position with our back. And you might say, well, I could go a little further already this morning, but what I'm looking for is this 90-degree flexion of the spine. tipping your pelvis back and a neutral alignment. So we'll flow through this half lift. Inhale, coming up, any amount. Exhale, coming to half lift, and look over your right shoulder. And then we'll come up again, stretch. You can add a little baby back bend if you'd like there. Come down to half lift and look over your left shoulder. And at your own pace. So what we've done, since we're in half series or half lift, is we've placed the gravity in a different position for our neck. So if we weren't using the muscles of our neck as we're looking over the shoulder in half lift, our head would fall down, if that makes sense. So you're using the muscles of the side of the neck to keep the head in neutral while you're using the muscles that rotate the neck to look over the shoulder. And so that's not the reason why we're not coming down into a full forward fold for this sequence, because I want your neck to be parallel to the plane of the floor. And let's do one more each side. So when you look over that right shoulder, you're strengthening the right side of your neck. And one more over the left shoulder. And then we'll inhale, and now you can swan dive all the way down into a forward fold. If you need to use your chair here for a little support, great, or blocks, or come all the way down and interlace hands to opposite elbows. So now I want you to use gravity to let your head release and use that gentle pull of gravity to lengthen the cervical spine. So just let everything go. You can move your head side to side, little small circles. And so we're just creating a little bit of traction for the neck here with gravity. And then just relax and breathe. 3 more breaths. Hamstrings are stretching, lower back is letting go, neck and shoulders relaxing. And then either come all the way down to your mat for a downward dog, or you can step back and use your hands on your chair and stretch right here in down dog. So take your time to come into the one that you'd like to. And my goal here is to stretch through the upper back and shoulders, so we can do that using the chair just as well as we can all the way down on the mat. We're trying to drop our heels down into the floor. And then whether you're using the chair or the floor, if you look to the right, you should be looking under your armpit. So you can tell if your down dog is correct, because if you're here and you look over your shoulder, then that's not quite the right position for your down dog. You want to push it back so you can look under. So I just want you to slowly look from right to left as you're holding that shoulder stretch. Now, some of us might have shoulder issues. That's why using the chair is really nice here, because you can get the position for the shoulders without overstressing them and using an abundance of body weight into that joint. And one more looking each side. And then just come back to neutral. We'll let our knees come down to the mat. So if you're using your chair, go ahead and come on down to the floor. And we'll take 3 thread the needles on the right side. So from that nice all fours position, sweep the right arm up, get a really good twist. And I want you to look up toward those fingers as high as you can. And then exhale, reach through and drop your shoulder and your head down to the mat gently. And 2 more with the breath. Inhale, come up. Oh, I don't know about you, but this feels great this morning. Oh, I'm already feeling some nice release in the upper back, shoulders and neck. And on this third one, we'll hold here. And I want you to imagine there's a little sponge underneath the right side of your head. And I want you to push your head down into the floor really gently, but you're using the strength of your neck to do that. Like you're squeezing water out of that little sponge that's between your head and your mat. Then on your next inhale, rise back up, stretch and reach. And then right from here, take this up hand and either bring it to set it on your hip or revolve it around behind your back and look up and then look down and way over your left shoulder. We'll just do that twice more, looking up and looking down. One more, nice range of motion. And the next time you look up, take that arm and reach it, and then set that hand down to the mat. All right, on our left side, check your spinal alignment, make sure you're nice and neutral. Reach up on the left and reach under, and just let your shoulder and the side of your head slightly touch the floor. And stretch up. Big deep breath. Then a complete exhalation. One more time, stretch. And thread the needle through until the side of your head comes to the floor. And we'll stay here. Just gently use the muscles of your neck to push your head down into the floor. It's like if you were doing yoga on a sandy beach, you were trying to put a little bit of a mark in the sand that would look like a bowl the size of your head, just pressing down. And then when you're ready, inhale, reach back up, stretch up. Take this hand and either place it on your hip or wrap it behind your back. We're holding this shoulder stretch as we look up, and then we look down and way over the right shoulder. 3 times, and you can do that with a breath. Inhaling one direction, exhaling the other. Keep the abdominals braced and gently pulled in. And the next time we look up over that left side, extend the arm, take a breath, and set the hands down. Let's take an extended child's pose just briefly. Really reach the arms out. Bring the forehead down to the mat. Now, if you can't quite reach the floor with your head, then stack your hands, or maybe your fists. I'd like to have your forehead in connection because we are going to, again, make a little impression into your mat by pushing your head down. And this is not super vigorous. It's enough just to tighten those muscles and engage a little bit. So on a scale of 1 to 10, you're only pushing down maybe at about a 3 or a 4. One more breath here. And then pull yourself up. Tuck those toes back underneath and come up into your down dog. Or bring yourself back to your chair into down dog. And then we'll lift the right leg up as high as you feel comfortable. And we'll bend the knee and straighten it. Now, right now I have level hips. So your hips are both level to the mat. Your thighs in parallel as you're bending and straightening the knee. Let's do one more. Now lift that leg a little higher and turn your pelvis to the right side. And now bend the knee and straighten it. So now we're in an open hip position. A gentle little stretch for your quad. Keep that leg high, engaging the muscles of your hips. Then bend that knee and hold. Squeeze your glute. Try to pull your knee open just a little bit more. One more breath. Then take a nice big step forward with this right foot toward the top of your mat. If you're using the chair, you can do the same thing. Just take a big step forward, release, and rise up into high crescent lunge. A nice stretch here. Now, our Yang practice this month is focused on strong standing foundational poses. And our crescent lunge can be a little difficult to balance. So if you need to set your heel down onto the mat and come into warrior one, if that feels better for you, that's always a great option. One more breath here in our high crescent lunge. And then open out into warrior two. So if you turn toward your left, your right knee is bent. The right toes are pointing toward the top of your mat. The left leg is straight and your toes are parallel to the back edge of your mat. And then take this back arm, give it a little bend. So it's like you're gonna pull a bow and arrow. Then shoot that left hand forward and pull it back like the bow and arrow and look back behind you. Reach out and pull back. Now we're going to swap the arms back and forth. So as you reach the left arm forward, pull the right hand back and try to twist as far as you can to the right, and then switch and twist as far as you can to the left. We're doing this right from the waistline, but we're also moving our neck side to side. So we're in spinal rotation, really using those muscles. And imagine that you're pulling something like a resistance band or a cable weight machine, pulling it back and reaching it forward. Let's do one more on each side. Pull to the right and then pull to the left and hold here. Take your left hand and gently place it on the left side of your head and apply a little pressure there with your head, with your neck muscles, and come into reverse warrior. So I'm pushing down left side of my head into my left hand gently. A nice side flexion of the waist, opening and reaching through the midsection. One more breath. And then reaching down to the mat with both hands or to your chair, push yourself back into downward dog. So you're going to flow through a half series vinyasa here. So you can come down to your knees to kneeling plank or stay on your toes in high plank and keep your elbows squeezed in toward your midsection as you lower down to the belly and come into a baby cobra. Now you can also use your chair for this sequence. We've done it quite a few times in the past. So if you don't want to come down to your belly, you can use your hands on your chair. Lower back down, push up with your hands, back up to plank and back to your down dog. So we're just going to go through this half series vinyasa 3 more times. Inhale, coming forward to plank or kneeling plank. Slowly exhaling chaturanga until the belly comes all the way down to the floor. Using the strength of your back, lift up into spinal extension. Exhale, come down. Push yourself back up from the knees or toes into your down dog, dropping your heels down to your mat. We have 2 more times, and I'm going to add a rotation of the neck on our cobra. So inhale forward to your plank. Knees or toes. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, baby cobra. Hold and look over your right shoulder. Lower back down. Push yourself back up into down dog. You can always do a child's pose here as well if you want to leave out the down dog. 1 more half series. Inhale forward to plank. Knees or toes. Slowly as you can, chaturanga. Use those triceps and shoulders. Inhale, baby cobra. Looking to the left, hold it. Now your legs should be really straight and active, pushing the tops of your feet down into the mat. And then we'll come back down, press back up, knees or toes, back into your down dog. All right, so we will take the left leg and lift it up. Keep your hips squared and bend your knee and straighten it. So if you need to get back over to your chair and use your hands on the chair for the sequence, please feel free to do that because we're on our hands for quite a bit here. One more. And then lift that leg a little higher. Turn your pelvis to the left so you're opening up your hips. Now bend your knee and straighten it. Keep sinking down into your right heel. Allow that calf and Achilles tendon to lengthen. Your shoulders should be pretty squared here, so you're actually twisting through your spine. Now bend that knee and hold it. Keep lifting the leg a little higher and pushing back with your heel. So you're opening up the hip flexor on the left side, really stretching your quad. One more breath. Then take a big step through toward the top of your mat. If you get about halfway like this, you can take your left hand and jump that foot forward. Come into high crescent lunge. Arms can reach up, or if you need to just bring them down and relax them a little bit, since we've been on our hands, you can take any stretches here, or even bring hands to your hips. Again, we have that option of planting the back heel down to the floor for warrior one, if that feels a little bit better than our high crescent lunge. Let's take one more breath. Then we'll start to open out to the right side. So our body faces the long right edge of our mat as we come into warrior two. And take some time to adjust your stride length, adjust your feet. Left foot's pointing to the top of your mat. Right foot is perpendicular to that on an angle. Pull your shoulder blades down. Then this back hand, we're going to bend it like we're pulling a bow and arrow. Then reach this, actually it's your right hand. Reach the right hand forward and pull it back. So even though I'm not going to mirror my directions now because we should all be on the same leg. All right, so now we'll start to swap this. So as the right hand comes forward, the left one pulls back, and look over the left side as far as you can, and then reverse that. And of course, we can turn a lot farther When we go to the right, because we're in that open position, then when we go to the left, it's more closed. And find a breath flow that works good for you. I'm going to inhale as I open to the right and exhale as I twist left. Lower body isn't moving. All of that is really stable. Let's do one more. And then come back right to that open position. Take your right hand, place it on the side of your head gently, and give it a little push into your palm. Then lengthen up into reverse warrior and hold here. I'm pushing my hand into my head into my hand, but only on a scale of about 3 or 4 on a 10 scale. Enough to connect with those muscles, not enough to strain. Let's take one more breath. Then cartwheel those hands back down to your mat or to your chair as we press back to a downward dog and hold. This should feel a lot more open through your shoulders now. We've been here a couple times. So really pull in your abs. Your knees can be bent as much as you need. Really lengthen to your edge. Then on an inhale, glide forward to your plank or kneeling plank. For your half series, from the knees or toes, come all the way down to the belly. Now what I'd like to do is take your hands and place them behind your head with your elbows out. So if this isn't a really comfortable position for you, then bring them to the front. But I'm going to use the back of my hands to push my head back into. And notice when I do that, I'm not lifting my head up. I'm pushing, but my head stays pretty much neutral. And we'll just lift the chest and hold this 3 breaths. This should be pretty challenging. Strengthening the back of the neck, strengthening the entire posterior spine, erector spinae muscles. One more breath. Then release your hands. Push yourself back up from the knees or toes to finish your half series vinyasa. Back to down dog or maybe child's pose if that feels better at the moment. So we'll do that twice more with a little bit of a twist. So we'll come forward to your plank or kneeling plank. Lower down chaturanga all the way down to your belly. Place your hands behind your head if that feels comfortable. Slightly push your head into your hands and then twist to the right. Hold 3 breaths. If you're saying this is really hard, you're right. It's extremely hard, so do what you can. Come out of your twist. Bring your hands down in front of your shoulders to finish your half series vinyasa. Pushing up. Back to your down dog or child's pose. I can't believe how much that picked up my heart rate. Okay, let's do it on the other side. So glide forward, plank or kneeling plank. Chaturanga, elbows close to your midsection. Plant your feet, tops of the feet, firmly into the mat. Bring your hands behind your head. Push with your head up toward your fingertips. Turn to the left. Hold 3 breaths. Now, if this is really totally impossible, your hands come down to the floor and you lift and turn left. That's absolutely fine. One more breath. Come back to center. Release the hands, finish your half series vinyasa. Back to child's pose or down dog and hold. So if you're in child's pose, come back to your down dog just for a moment. And then we'll bend our knees really deeply here. And then either walk or jump your feet up toward your hands. Might take a couple little steps. Come back into forward fold, let your neck relax, let your arms relax. You can take ragdoll pose. Just a nice recovery position. And then soften those knees. Either roll up or reverse swan dive up to a stand. And bring hands to heart center. Then we'll reach our hands forward at about shoulder level. So a little bit prior to this, we did this bow and arrow action. So I'm going to do that, alternating sides. So step back with your right foot into a baby warrior 2 and pull the bow and arrow. And then you'll step back again and reach. Then do the other side. Step back, turn out, pull, and step forward. So you can decide how far you want to step this back. So you can just do a little small one, or you can really step that warrior 2 open to your normal warrior 2 stance. So we've got about 60 seconds here to move at any pace, traveling any distance you'd like. Now, if your shoulders aren't really particularly enjoying the bow and arrow, then you can just bring your hands to your hips. Arms are just an accessory, and just do the lower body and open up. Breathing, feeling stable. 30 seconds to go. Now you can also challenge yourself by leaving your head pointing toward the forward hand. So keep your head straight ahead. Don't turn it. Don't move it with you, because that's going to actually stretch your neck a little bit better by leaving your head there and turning your body away from your head. Let's do one more on each side. And then come back to mountain. Relax through your arms and your shoulders. Pull those shoulder blades back. Now, if you'd like the next one with a yoga strap, you can use a strap, because we're going to come into a really nice chest expansion behind you. And I like the strap for that. But you can also do it by interlacing your hands together or just bringing your arms behind your body. And let's just really lift up, roll those shoulder blades back, but try to keep your abdominals engaged. Hold that stretch. Then sit down into a small chair pose. So I'm just bending my knees a little bit. My heels are pressed into the floor. Keep this nice position with your arms and step your right foot back into a baby crescent lunge. And then step it in. Your left foot back in a baby crescent lunge. So as we mentioned before, instead of the crescent lunge, you can plant your heel down. You'll feel a little more stable into warrior 1. So as you explore this, you'll find that your balance is challenged. I want you to try to step back a little further and just play with that range of motion. If your arms are getting tired from the stretch, relax them down. Keep going with the legs. Or just slightly release the intensity of that stretch. So our last option is to add some movement of the head. So you're going to be looking left when your right foot steps back and looking right when your left foot steps back. 30 seconds. Your shoulders aren't twisting, they're staying really square to the front edge of your mat. Let's get one more on each side. And when you've finished both feet, come up, release that strap. And we'll take just a brief counter stretch. So interlace your fingers forward, push your palms out, drop your chin down toward your chest, opening up through your shoulder blades. You can move your head a little bit side to side here. Just releasing the neck, releasing any tension in your pectorals. And then release that back down. So kneading your chair might be necessary here as we're coming in to a balance pose. So stand up close enough to your chair or to a wall or anything else you can touch that when you come forward, standing on one foot, you have something in front of you to help you. So we're going to stand on our right foot first and pick our left knee up. Your arms can either be down by your side, they can be forward, they can be up. Just kind of experimenting with this. Then keeping the pelvis square, take your foot back behind you and extend it, come into warrior three. So I have a little bend in my standing knee. Your hands can come all the way down to gently tap to your chair. So your goal is to, if possible, not touch the floor as you move back through to bring your knee up to single leg stance. And then to reach it back behind, lengthening it out to your warrior three. If you need to tap your foot down, absolutely do that. Let's do 2 more of these on this side. So in the strength training world, this is known as a single leg deadlift. It really works the glute and the hamstring of the standing leg. Which you might be saying, duh, I can feel that. Yes, we can. So finishing this one back in your single leg stance. Hold 10 seconds if you can. This is one of our New York Times exercises, being able to hold single leg stance for at least 10 seconds. Promotes longevity. All right, release that foot down. Come to mountain. You might need to shake out your standing leg a little bit. I feel like a couple ankle circles would feel nice. Okay, so let's find that single leg stance. Standing on the left foot, we pick up the right knee. And then our arms are wherever you'd like to place them. Make sure you have your balance really well before you start to move. So we send that right leg back behind us. Your hips are level to the floor, so try not to turn your right hip up. Find warrior three. And then we're moving slow with our goal to be not to touch the floor with the foot unless we absolutely need to. It's always there for us. So I counted 5 repetitions for myself on the other side, but whatever you need to do here on this side for you. I'm really already feeling those muscles in the lower leg, just talking to me already on this left side. Head positions should stay neutral all the way through. Whichever plane your body's moving through, Your neck should stay along that same plane. Nice job. I'm going to get one more here. Finishing in our single leg stance. So whenever you get to your single leg stance, count an honest 10 seconds. Good focal point, good drishti, good breathing, and good core stability. When you have your 10, come back to mountain pose. Stand tall. I need a little shake out of this left ankle. Can do some leg circles. All right, so I'm going to turn to face the center. If you need a chair or wall for balance, feel free to do that, as we are going to work a balance pose called eagle. So before we get into the balance, let's do the arms first. So take a nice breath, inhale, open, expand through your chest. Then as you exhale, wrap your right arm over your left and just try to touch the back of your shoulders. You can also have a seat in your chair for this sequence as well. So we'll do that one more time. Open, pull back, expand the chest, right arm on top of left, and you can give yourself a big hug here. Or if eagle arms are accessible for you, you release your hands, your elbows are crossed, and then we try to touch the pads of the fingers or some portion of the hands together. Now really make sure a couple things. We want to be sure we're not shrugging up. So use your lats to push your shoulders down away from your ears. But at the same time, you might want to lift your elbows up a little bit. So I feel a better stretch if my elbows are slightly up than when they're down. But you want to keep your shoulders down even if you're lifting your elbows up. So your left arm should be underneath. So we're going to take the right foot and bring it on top. So take your right knee, and you can just cross your foot over here to touch it to the floor, or you can wrap your foot around a little more, or even bend your knees somewhat. So with our eagle pose, we can also bend forward at the waist. It's a little bit more challenging as we're shifting our body center of gravity. You can also just bring your feet totally together, but soften your knees and bring this forward. It's a really nice release for your upper back. Let's take one more breath. Then find a controlled way to come out of that pose. Finishing by unwrapping those arms and coming back into your chest expansion. And then before we switch sides, just relax your arms. Notice a change and maybe some release of your neck. You might have to move it around a little bit, roll your shoulders somewhat. And let's try it on the other side. So we'll inhale, open. This time your left arm comes across. Give yourself a big hug and try to reach for the outside of your shoulders or even the backs of your shoulder blades. And open. And wrap left arm on top. So you can do the whole eagle sequence just like this, or allow those hands to try to touch. So we're in that wrapped eagle position. Shoulder blades are down, but elbows can come up. So experiment here with the place that feels best for you to get a nice release. Soften your knees a little bit And then we'll pick the left knee up, and you can just cross your ankle here, or you can wrap your knee up and around, finding a good balanced position. And we can also bring the elbows down any amount. So it kind of depends on what your goals are. If your goal is balance, then keep standing on that one foot, but find a place you can hold it. If your goal is shoulder release, you might want to not work on balance as much and just keep both feet on the mat and let this really give yourself a nice upper back, shoulder, and neck release. Just surrendering to gravity, surrendering to the muscles lengthening. And then slowly, controlled, make your way out of wherever you are in that pose. We'll finish by unwrapping the arms, coming into chest expansion. And release it down. We'll come into cow face arms. So this right arm will come up. And if you're feeling more comfortable, you can sit down in your chair for this, but the more we're standing, we continue a little bit of that yang portion of this practice. So we'll reach the hand and try to touch behind like you were reaching for a zipper in the back of your shirt or a button. Now, if you want to get a little bit more with this, take the other hand and either push it from the front or pull it from the back. Now, this is a great pose to use your yoga strap. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that and use it to hang behind my back. When you get into this position, you've got a good range of motion. Your thumb will be down as you reach your hand behind you and try to find that yoga strap and inch your hands as closely as you can to one another. Now, sometimes when our hand is behind our head, the tendency is to look down. So I really want you to keep your chin upright so you're looking up. And we're going to take a little side bend over to the side so that it elongates the side of our right side of our body a little bit more. And then bring yourself back up and very carefully side bend the other way. So you might notice this changes the stretch in your shoulders depending on which direction that you're going. Then come right up to the neutral line, hold your cow face position, still standing on your right foot, tap your left leg to the side to where your big toe's tapping, and then see if you can lift that foot off the floor for 10 seconds in lateral leg raise. This is another one of our exercises from last month's longevity practice. And just to let you guys know, I'm working on a LisaBug short and sweet video with some of those exercises, and I've just about got it ready to go ahead and film that. So I'll let you guys know when that's up and running. When you've got your 10 seconds, bring your foot down. Now we want to come out of this very gently because of the shoulder. So release your bottom arm first. That's going to be that left side. Let your arm straighten behind your back first before you bring it out and around. That's going to be best for this shoulder here. And then extend the other arm and release it. Pause and just check in before you switch. There's no rush to go right into the other side. It's nice to allow some feelings that we have to just dissipate a little bit. Take a couple of minor movements. And then when you're ready, with or without the strap, the left arm is going to come up. So what if you don't have range of motion in your left arm to lift it all the way up? Then you just go ahead and you bend it at whatever height that you have. And then gradually over time, you try to work on getting that arm to come up a little bit, but it doesn't have to be all the way up. It's whatever your body can manage. So once you have that arm in the position you can keep it, take the right hand, turn your thumb down first so the hand is facing behind you. So we're coming into that internal rotation for the rotator cuff, and we want to be really careful with that position. Then inch your fingers on the strap as closely as you can. And if you don't have a real yoga strap, there's so many things we can use around the house to duplicate that. A little hand towel or a belt or a men's tie. So really anything you can use. And let's side bend over to the right. So we're opening up the side of our body with the upward arm. Head is staying neutral, but the main thing is you don't want to drop your chin down. So push that head back into your hand a little bit. And then peel it up. Take it to the other side. So this one gives me more pull in my bottom arm shoulder. So go slow and be careful. And pull it back up. So maybe by now you can inch your fingers a little closer. So check and see where you can go. And stand on your left foot. Take your right big toe to tap out. And it's okay if this is the way you hold it, keeping your toe on the mat. Or let's try to lift it up and hold your lateral leg lift 10 seconds. This is a harder side for me to balance, so I'm going to have to tap that big toe down, I think, a couple times. Nice posture. Keep the breathing moving. Find a focal point, a drishti. When you have 10 seconds, lower that leg back in, and then we carefully release the bottom arm first by straightening it down toward your rear end. Once your arm is straight, then you can bring it around and straighten the left arm and let it float down. Great. All right, let's come down to a comfortable seat. Bring your yoga strap with you. You might like to use it for a twist here. You can also sit in your chair for this. We're going to keep our right knee bent, tuck it in at a comfortable position, and your left foot can be right in front of your body here. Or if you'd like to go a little bit more than this left foot can come across the knee. So we are going to twist to that left side. So what I'd like for you to do is take your right hand and kind of brace the knee here, lengthen your spine up, and take this left hand and you're going to do the same thing you did as cow face arms. You're going to bring it behind your back and rotate. And then maybe this hand here can release and join, clasping the hands together. You also see this pose done by this arm staying in front and reaching behind, which is really way challenging for me. There's no way I can reach this hand to the back hand in a twist, but it can be done. There's yogis out there that do it. So I'm just going to reach both hands behind my back this way, but you can also use your strap as well. And let's lengthen that spine and hold a couple more breaths. And then come back to center. And then either keeping your legs as they are, or you can actually sit in cow face position here by folding this left foot underneath and trying to stack your knees. My knees don't like this quite so much, so I just want you to do what you can here in this position. And then try to take your chest toward those legs any amount. Giving us a nice little hip opener. breath. And come up. So no rush to come out of this. I just want you to sit as you are and close your eyes for a couple of breaths and just let everything relax. And you might find, oh yeah, you're right. I was tensing up my glutes. I didn't even realize that. Once you feel like you have everything relaxed, then let's go ahead and slowly move to the other side. So now your left leg is tucked in underneath you any amount. Your right foot can be right to the front, or you can cross it over. So my knees are challenging me on this side, so I'm going to stay here. Sit up tall, pull that knee toward you, turn and take this right hand and wrap it behind your back any amount. So see my little fingers coming over there. You can use your yoga strap. You can use anything you'd like to bind if you'd like. Reach that hand behind your back. As soon as I let go from this, I realize, oh man, my core needs to work. So I really like this to activate the core, but if you are in a place where you just want to relax and stretch, then no worries. See how far you can look over that shoulder as well toward the back. And then let's come out of the twist. And what is your modification for your cow face on this side? I need to really kind of think about what I can do here to get my hips to open. Some things that we can do is use some props. So I'm going to take this blanket and kind of bring it right in here. And then, oh, that feels much better. I can relax into this and then come forward any amount. And then just